The 6-year-old's body was found in a trash bag buried behind the Schroers' Rose Hill home last September, but investigators believe the 6-year-old actually died at the end of 2020. An autopsy report suggests she died from suffocation.
Welcome or welcome back. I'm Cassie and this is A Wicked World. Before we get into today's case, I just briefly wanted to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, CyberGhost VPN. With over 38 million users worldwide, it's the most recommended VPN on the market. Not to mention, CyberGhost VPN has an impressive, near-perfect score on Trustpilot, which is essential because you want to make sure you can trust the company that's protecting your data. Now, if you browse in incognito mode, you may think that you're already protected and don't need a VPN. But think again. Plenty of eyes are watching you every time you go online, and incognito mode just gives you a false sense of privacy. Your internet service provider, your school or work's IT department, even your own home Wi-Fi router and the website you visit know who you are and track your every move. But you can put a stop to this privacy invasion by signing up for CyberGhost VPN today. Just turn on CyberGhost VPN before you browse, and it encrypts and reroutes 100% of your traffic through their secure servers, so no one will ever know about what you do online. It's very simple, and CyberGhost has servers in over 100 countries ready to cater to your every need. Another thing that CyberGhost VPN can do is just by changing your location in the app, you can unlock libraries of over 40 streaming platforms, including Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Disney, and more. And that is pretty amazing. CyberGhost VPN app is available for all operating systems and can protect up to 7 devices at the same time, keeping you anonymous around the clock. That's a lot of devices too, so you can always share your subscription with family and friends. If you want to keep prying eyes at bay and be anonymous online, then now is the perfect time to sign up for CyberGhost VPN. And by using the link in the description box below, you'll get an 83% discount and 4 months free. Also, since CyberGhost has a 45-day money-back guarantee and access to 24/7 customer support, everything is risk-free for you. So use the link in the description to get CyberGhost VPN today and start protecting your data. Now, the story I have for you today is about a little girl who was just recently discovered to be dead. But it was found that she's actually been dead for an entire 4 years before anyone noticed she was even missing. And all this happened after she had been taken away from a mother who was deemed to be incompetent. This is the story of Natalie Garcia. Natalie Marie Garcia was born on July 14, 2014, to her mother, Krista Helm. She was a sweet little girl who was always happy and smiling. Natalie loved school, and she also loved eating food, especially pizza. Now, little Natalie had 2 biological sisters, whom she lived with, and the girl's mother, Krista, had lost custody of all 3 of them back in 2018 as a result of her drug habit. Then, a year later in 2019, the girls would be adopted by Christina and Joseph Schroer, who lived in Rose Hill, Kansas. At the time of her adoption, even though the little girl was already 5 years old, her new parents decided to change her name from Natalie Marie Garcia to Kennedy Jean Schroer. Throughout the years, the Schroers had fostered multiple children in their home, so when Natalie's biological mother found out that they would be adopting her girls, she felt a sense of relief, knowing that her children would be better taken care of and have the opportunity for a better life than she could currently offer them. The Schroers also had 2 other adopted children that were living in the home with Natalie and her siblings. Years later, on September 10, 2024, around 7 p.m., police would respond to the Schroers' home that was located at 1406 North Meeker Court in Rose Hill, Kansas. This was due to a report that Christina was suicidal and had locked herself in the bedroom, possibly with a gun. After they'd been there for close to 45 minutes, officers were finally able to convince Christina to open the door. She stated that she'd taken a bunch of pills and her heart medication. Christina then began crying and telling officers that her life was over and nobody would ever look at her the same again. Next, she made the startling claim that one of her daughters was fucking psychotic and a danger. According to Christina, due to this child, she previously had to remove 2 other children from their home out of concerns for their safety. She then went on to tell officers what she believed this child had done to Natalie back in December of 2020. Christina stated that this child, we'll call her Child A, choked another child, Child B, to the point where she was unconscious. When the mother then went to try to revive Child B using CPR, Child A tried to stop her from doing so. Therefore, Christina had put Child A into a bedroom with Natalie so she could finish reviving Child B. Once the mother had successfully revived Child A, she could not figure out where in the home Natalie was. She did, however, notice a box at the top of the stairs that had a small crib on it and some heavy blankets. Christina told officers that she had taken these objects off of the box, and when she did, she opened the flaps, looked inside, and saw 6-year-old Natalie unconscious. She also had no pulse. The little girl was extremely hot, so the adoptive mother took her out of the box and brought her into the shower, trying to cool her down. She then began trying to give her CPR. However, it didn't work because the little girl was already dead. According to Christina, she called her husband Joseph, who wasn't home at the time, and told him that she was taking Natalie to the hospital. Then she wrapped the little girl up in sheets and put her in the car. While Christina had said that she was thinking of taking Natalie to the hospital, instead, she just drove. She claimed she really didn't know what to do, and instead of going to the emergency room or to the police station, she would just drive back home with Natalie's body still in the car. Then, when she got back home, Christina grabbed some of her things and left again. But she would end up back at the house a little while later, and at that point, she took Natalie's body into the backyard where she buried her. Christina stated she believed all of this had occurred on December 10th, 2020. Upon telling her story to the authorities, Christina was sent to Wesley Hospital in Wichita for treatment, as they were afraid she might try to take herself out of this world. Police then obtained a search warrant for the Schroers' property and brought dogs in to search for Natalie's body. And they would end up finding her not long after. She was buried in the backyard about 2 feet down, just as Christina had said. The little girl's body was wrapped up in 2 black trash bags. A coroner later determined that Natalie, whose body was just bones at this point, had likely died from suffocation, and her death was ruled as a homicide. Following their discovery, police would speak with one of Natalie's sisters at the Rose Hill police station in the presence of her father, Joseph. This was the little girl whom Christina had tried to pin the blame for Natalie's death on. At the start of the questioning, the little girl would tell officers that she had no idea what had happened to Natalie. And she began crying, stating that she missed her sister and didn't want to talk about her. After being reassured, the girl would go on to say that she used to hurt her sisters, mostly hit them or punched them in the back when they called her names or got into her things. When she was asked about playing in boxes, hiding in boxes, or if anyone had ever gone into a box then not come out alive, Natalie's sister immediately shut down and told authorities that they had to speak to her mother. So detectives decided that it was a good point to take a break in the interrogation. While they were out of the room, Joseph would say that the little girl opened up to him about what had happened to Natalie. The young girl informed Joseph that one night while he had been working the 3rd shift, Christina had made Natalie get inside a box because she was moving around in bed too much. This box was just big enough that if the girls curled up into a tight ball, they would fit perfectly inside. Making the children go into boxes was a common form of punishment in the home. They had to go inside for 10 minutes, and if they could be quiet that entire 10 minutes, then they were allowed to come back out. So that night in December, Natalie had been forced into a box, and she was allowed to come back out if she was quiet for the entire 10 minutes. But because the little girl kept making noises and moving around inside the box, Christina decided to stack a crib and heavy blankets on top of it. Now, Natalie's sister had not been in the room when Christina put Natalie inside the box. However, Christina called the sister into the room shortly after. When she did, the little girl told detectives that the mother grabbed her by the throat, then threw her to the floor. Christina then told the little girl that it would be her turn in the box next and made her sit next to it. Shortly after that, Natalie, who had been making noises in the box up until this point, stopped completely. This made her sister worried, so Christina kicked the box over to let Natalie out. But instead, the girl's limp blue body tumbled out. Christina panicked and began trying to perform CPR on Natalie. When this didn't work, she instructed the other child to keep an eye on their siblings while she left the home. When Christina returned to the home sometime later, the little girl claimed that she no longer had Natalie with her. Upon Christina's return, she also showed Natalie's sister a picture on her phone of children strapped to beds. Christina informed her that the children were being tortured and she would be next. Following this interview with detectives, both of Natalie's sisters were placed into protective custody. But the arrest of Christina Schroer and her husband Joseph in connection with Natalie's death would not come for a few more months. They weren't arrested until February 5th, 2025, just a few weeks ago. Christina was charged with first-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, child abuse, felony theft, forgery, Medicaid fraud, and desecration of a corpse. Joseph was charged with suspicion of child abuse, interference with law enforcement, felony theft, and Medicaid fraud. Police had uncovered a lot in the 5 months between the discovery of Natalie's body and the parents' arrests. First, after detectives had confiscated and examined Christina's cell phone, they found that on August 31st, 2024, she had made a number of incriminating searches. These online searches included signs of a sociopath in a 4-year-old, neurotesting for sociopath child, child psychology, criminal law attorney, can drinking Visine kill you? Is drinking Flonase deadly? How to overdose on pills, overdose symptoms? Can I donate my body to science? And get money for a lawyer fast. Authorities also found thousands of text messages on Christina's phone that revealed the physical, mental, and emotional abuse that the entire Schroer family had been going through at her hands. These texts showed that the children's meals had been rationed inside the home. Christina would use food against the children to gain their compliance. They had also been tortured and isolated from the outside world. And while in the home, their every move had been monitored through a number of video cameras. In one of the messages that police discovered, Christina chastises her husband Joseph for placing a bucket inside a closet where the girls were forced to stay. She was angry because he had placed the bucket in there, yet they chose to urinate on the floor instead. In a text sent on January 9th, 2023, Christina talks about how one of the children broke a bowl. And she says to her husband, "I don't care if she told you or not. I'm about to punch her in the face. I'm done. These girls have me on edge. I'm going to kill everyone soon." She had also texted her husband Joseph on January 16th, 2023, about putting one of the girls in a dog cage to sleep for the night. Apparently, along with using boxes as punishment, Christina had also frequently used the dog cage to punish the children. There was one time that she had even forced 2 of the girls to go inside a box together on top of one another. The adoptive mother also told her husband constantly through text messages sent between 2021 and 2024 that he was choosing the adopted girls over her and she didn't want them anymore. She wanted to get rid of them. Then Christina was also said to have told 2 of Natalie's sisters that Natalie was burning in hell, and if they weren't good, they were going there too. A past foster child of the Schroers would tell detectives that he had run away from their home when he was 16. This had come after he flipped out and attacked Christina because he believed that she was trying to drown one of the girls in the bathtub. The child was in the tub on her knees, crying and asking her mother to stop. According to him, the slightest things would set the mother off, and she was frequently yelling at and hitting her kids. A friend of Christina's had additionally spoken with authorities, and she said that around the time the COVID pandemic hit, she had noticed a big change in Christina. It was around that time that the children always seemed to be in trouble, were not allowed to leave their room, and never left the house. They didn't even go to doctor's appointments and had been pulled out of school under the guise that Christina was going to homeschool them. Upon this friend questioning Christina about where Natalie had gone, she was told that the little girl had been sent back into the state's care. Now, back when Christina had pulled Natalie and her sisters out of school in January of 2020, She had told school authorities that one of the children in her home had brain swelling that wasn't getting better, so she needed to be protected from germs. Therefore, none of the girls could attend school out of fear of getting this other child sick. But Christina had told everyone else that Natalie and her sisters were pulled out of school and were now being homeschooled because they had behavioral issues. According to her, the children had been violent, disruptive, and were even eating trash during the school day. Christina also reported that one of the girls had harmed her sisters, was hurting the household pets, and had threatened to kill her family. But according to everyone else in the girl's life, including child services, she had never had any instances of violence or making threats. It would be discovered that Christina would often fabricate medical ailments that the girls and past foster children had. She did this in order to get them prescribed medications, which would increase her amount of money that she was given by the government each month per child. It's believed that all the stories of violence and misbehavior that Christina had come up with over the years was also so that she could just get higher monthly payments for them, as no one else had witnessed any type of behavior like this in the children. So it's pretty clear that Christina, and possibly her husband Joseph too, were very money hungry. The couple had collected over $23,000 in benefits just for Natalie. There was also about $3,800 worth of Medicaid benefits that they had received after her death, fraudulently. Now, much of the money that the couple was receiving for taking care of these children was going towards Christina's gambling problem. According to family and friends, Christina was constantly shuffling money between her bank accounts. And she was always short on money, making those accounts go negative. Additionally, when the house was searched, police found bankruptcy papers and discovered that Christina had a lifetime total of nearly $4.2 million of coin-in from slot machines played at the Seven Clans First Council Casino Hotel. Now, some of this could have been reinvested winnings, but it's still an incredibly high amount nonetheless. According to the casino, her winnings had totaled around $362,000. Christina also seemed to be the boss in her household, and she would allow her husband to have $200 each week out of his own paycheck. She then kept the rest. Other individuals who have spoken with detectives since the discovery of Natalie's body have said that Christina seemed to have little to no interest in her. According to a social worker, when Christina spoke about the kids, she often referred to them like they were just objects around the home. She had very little warmth towards them. Now, at this point, it's unclear exactly what Joseph thought had happened to Natalie following her death. However, he did get a text message from his wife Christina that day telling him that something was going on at the home, but she had it all under control. Christina also informed him that one of the children had been choked and someone was taken by ambulance to a psychiatric facility. Apparently, just weeks before Natalie's body had been found on August 30th, 2024, a social worker had gone out to the home. This came after they had received a report that one child had killed another. At the time, Christina had just told the social worker that all her children were alive and that the girls just like to tell stories. Then she said that the worker did not need to see the child to determine their welfare. Which, yeah, that's exactly how that works. You do need to see the child. But the social worker apparently didn't think so, because she simply closed out the case due to insufficient evidence. There were also prior allegations of abuse and neglect that had been made against Christina. These spanned from 2016 to 2018, before she had ever even officially adopted the girls. However, all the claims had come back as unsubstantiated. In January of 2025, after Natalie's body had been discovered, a new foster parent of her sisters emailed a caseworker with a photo of a storage box that they had been using for Christmas decorations. The little girls had freaked out and began screaming when they saw it, saying, "Please do not make us get in the boxes. Please, please, we will never fight again." The foster parent said that it took over an hour to calm the girls down. After that, the children pointed to the edges of the box where the lid goes and said, "Those really hurt when the door is closed and locked." A black storage box, matching the one that the foster parents had sent a picture of, was found in the basement of the home where the girls had lived with Christina and Joseph. Natalie's biological mother, Krista Helm, spoke publicly after the girl's body was discovered. She questioned how one of her children had been unaccounted for so long, asking why the Kansas Department of Children and Families was not checking up on her. Krista is now trying to raise funds both to bury Natalie and also to hire a lawyer so she can fight for custody of her other 2 daughters.
But something died inside of me September 13th.
That's the day Helm was asked for a DNA sample to connect her to the child remains unearthed in Rose Hill.
All of the evil that they've done is about to come to light. I've been praying for the truth to be revealed, and it's coming out.
Helm's 2 other daughters that were removed from her custody were also adopted into the Schroer household. Helm has yet to speak to them, and she was told they were taken out of the Schroer home by law enforcement. She says she can only wonder what they went through, but wants to be the one responsible for their healing.
It's going to take so much work to heal those girls, and I don't want anybody else to do it. I want them to be where they belong.
A vow Helm hopes to keep, the arrest coming on her older daughter's birthday. Her message to her as she hopes to regain custody of her 2 surviving daughters and the body of her Natalie to give her a proper funeral.
Happy birthday. I love you. I'm coming. And I hope I see you soon.
Hope.
Well, thank you for listening to Natalie's story today. I'm baffled how no one from Child Services had checked up on this little girl in 4 years. Then, when they received a case stating that something awful had happened in the home, they went out there and didn't even check on any of the girls before they closed out that case. It's outrageous. And before you go, don't forget to click the link in the description box below to get the special discount that CyberGhost VPN is offering our channel users. This application will protect your data while you browse and gives you full access to all blocked content on the internet for only $2.03 a month. Totally risk-free too, so check it out. And if you like true crime and you want to hear it from me, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and turn on your notifications too, so you'll know when I upload a new video, which is at least 3 times every single week. Thanks for watching A Wicked World today. Until next time, take care guys. Bye. Thank you to all the patrons of A Wicked World. Now, there's even more of A Wicked World on Patreon, so check it out on patreon.com/awickedworld. Or use the Patreon app. You'll have access to exclusive videos each month and more. Any support truly helps to make sure the victims are never forgotten and to highlight the shortcomings of society associated with each case. Do you have a suggestion for a story you'd like to see me cover? If so, send me an email to awickedworldtruecrime@gmail.com.